Hi there, this is Dr. Hisham Said. This is the last part of this long series on cost estimating in construction. So we'll cover in this video indirect cost and markup. And going back to this kind of map of how bid price is estimated. So bid price is equal to cost plus markup. Cost is equal to direct cost plus indirect cost. In previous videos we covered the different components of direct cost if you're doing detailed estimate. So material, labor, equipment, and subs. In this video we'll start with learning about indirect cost and then moving to the markup. So indirect cost, we'll start with the first part of it, which is site overhead. So we kind of briefly explain what indirect cost means. Indirect cost is any expense that your company incur or pay, but you cannot directly assign to one specific activity in your WBS or work breakdown structure or in your schedule. So it's not a cost that's easily broken down. It's a cost for the whole project. So as an example, project manager and project engineers you have on the site, or the safety manager on the site, or in big projects you have quality team. So they're doing different, they're following up on managing the whole project. You cannot, it's not feasible to track their time doing this part, like serving this activity and then moving to this activity and this activity. It's not feasible, it's very time consuming. So you just track their expense, their cost, and then account for it for the whole project, instead of it assigning to specific activities within your bid. Another example is the fence. So you have to secure your site, you install a temporary fence around it, same thing, it's there all the time, kind of serving the whole project. All the activities are dependent on having a fence around it for safety reasons, so same thing. So such cost can be estimated as a percent of the direct cost. So let's say I calculated my direct cost, labor, material, equipment, and subs, and added up all to be 100K. Now I can say that from experience from previous projects, indirect cost is 10%. So in this case, my indirect cost will be 10% times 100K, so it will be 10K. So my total cost will be 100 plus 10, it will be $110,000. So that's the very rough way of doing it. Better estimates are done if you actually think a little, carefully about your site overhead. Because when you think about your site overhead, you're reading the contract, you're reading the general conditions in the contract, you're reading what the owner is asking for, coordination and quality inspection, all of that. So that will be reflected in staffing and equipment you have on the site, and furniture you have on the site, and technology you have on the site. So it's an exercise you will do, and it will make your estimate more reliable. So I'm sharing in the class kind of a list from the textbook of the class. The serial or list of possible site overhead items. It's a very long list, so it includes, like here we see salaries, equipment, like trucks. So every foreman is expected to have a truck. They're driving around with the truck. It's not assigned to a specific activity, or superintendent. Also the same. Temporary facilities, safety requirements, and occupational hazard protection. Other things like engineering supports, so testing, taxes. So there are different things, expendables, like even like tools, hammers, supplies, the paper you have on the site and the trailer. So there are a lot of things. If you have do the exercise of kind of checking, yes, I have that, I'm trying to do some effort in estimating that, yes, no, then you will have more reliable estimate of the site overhead. So this is the first part of the indirect cost, is the site overhead. The second part is the office overhead, which includes the management of the company, the overhead that represent the people in the suits, and the khaki pants, and not the jean, and people in the jeans and on the side and the boots. Those are in the office, and without them, you can't get projects because you need a CEO to strategize for the company. You need salespeople to go and knock on the door of the owners and market for the company. You need estimators to bid for projects. So there are a lot of overhead and business administration and marketing and a lot of things. Renting a space for the company, even maybe buying a building for the company if it's a big company. So there is a lot of costs associated with the office, not a specific project. And in this case, it's very hard to calculate in detail. So you have accountants. So those are managing the accounting books of the company will give you a percentage. So they will tell, looking at the previous financial sheets of the company, our office overhead is this percent of the project costs. So they will tell you to use this percentage. So in this case, I'm giving a list just in case as an example, but what I've seen is that it's just a percentage that comes from the accounting software and the accounting books of the company. So finally, we're done with the cost, which is the big part of the bid here, price. It includes direct cost and indirect cost. Now, on top of the cost, you add the markup. So markup includes different things to account for other than the costs and expenses that related to the project and running the company. So the first one, of course, profit. Some people mix markup with profit, but actually profit is part of the markup, but markup is bigger than the profit. Profit is included in the markup. So profit, we all know the profit. It's just the return. As if you're investing in this company, you look at what's the return on my investment in this company. Contingency is another part of the markup. So it's kind of a profit that you're or a percentage that you account for. If things go wrong, then it's accounted for. If things go good, so it's actually an extra profit for me. So that's the contingency here. It's accounting for unavailable information that you don't have, but you know that things might go not well, or so contingency is very important. And it depends on the project. So you can have it in one project as 0%, like you're really comfortable with the project, or you can have it 5% in other projects. And then financial cost. So we'll cover that in the cash flow lesson, but cash flow, especially in long projects, meaning that like projects going multiple years, big, huge projects that cost billions of dollars, financing and getting cash flow for such huge project actually costs money. Like credit lines for contractors cost a lot of money in such projects. So you need to account for that also. You're not paying for the interest on cash that you're burning for a project it's not your project, it's the owner project, right? So you need to account for securing the credit line and paying for interest for the cash that you're burning until you get paid by the owner. So in summary, this is the overall steps of doing a detailed estimate. So first you have to do WBS, identify the activities you have, and then do the quantity takeoff, and then estimate the direct cost of the self-performed work you do, and then estimate the direct cost of the subs and the sub work. Add all of these, this will be the total direct costs. Estimate the indirect costs, which include site overhead and office overhead. Estimate the markup, and then add a direct, indirect, and markup, you'll get the bid price. So that's it. Finally done with this long condensed lecture and lesson on cost estimating. Estimating is all about practice and experience. So whatever, I can go on and on for hours and hours, but it's all about practice. You have to roll your sleeves, open the plans, read them. The more you do of estimating, the more experienced you will be, the more valuable you will be. So this is my advice. And also, don't feel afraid. Jump into the estimate. You will always learn while you do estimates. There is always a new material coming. There's always a new construction method that you can apply in a project. So it's a continuous learning, and if you're afraid of learning, that's not good. You have to be comfortable with learning, and googling, learning, and making a lot of assumptions. Estimating is all about making a lot of reasonable assumptions. All right, thanks for watching. I will see you in class. We'll do exercises and get you comfortable with estimating. Until then, take care. I'll see you then. Bye.